Catch this. Hello and welcome everyone to day one of the BJ Destruction League, brought to you by Afrika TV and English Cast, brought to you by Alpha X. I'm so excited that you guys are able to join us today. My name is Rushy, and it is very late for me here in the North American United States. Currently sitting at about midnight my time, but I'm so excited to be here to help provide an English cast for you for the Afrika TV BJ Destruction Team League. We are looking at Season 2 of the Team League here, and we have a whole lot of interesting things to talk about here as we get warmed up into our event here as well. I'm so excited to be able to work with Afrika TV providing this beautiful feed so we can be a part of all of the action here at play.afrikatv.com/alphaxsc2. You guys are in for a treat today as we get into this season 2 of this team league here over at Afrika TV. Very, very exciting stuff. This has been going on since 2018, so definitely a lot happening here. This is going to be a week-long event starting with today. We're going to be cycling through all of our different teams, those teams that you saw at the very, very beginning of our cast, comprising of the best in GSL qualifiers, GSL tournament players, mostly Koreans, but this time we're going to toss in one foreigner, and you're going to get a chance to see him play today. Special is going to be joining in with this crew of fantastic Korean players. Each day is going to feature 4 teams facing off against each other in an all-kill format. What is all-kill if you're not familiar with that? The all-kill format is similar to if you've ever seen Nation Wars, where every team has 3 players and they each have 1 life. It's going to be best of 5. The first team to take down all 3 players from the other team will move on and advance in this tournament. You can see the maps that we're using here in the little box. We are using all of the new season maps, so Death Aura, Ice and Chrome, Pillars of Gold, Submarine, Everdream, Golden Wall, and Eternal Empire. So nothing too crazy here. What is interesting is a lot of our players have not had a chance to play on it very much, so we might be seeing some new metas evolve over the course of this tournament. Up on the screen, you can see our new players here and our teams. We're going to see the top 4 teams play today. Why Are You Here, featuring Zest, Stats, and Special. 3 Zerg, featuring Rogue, Ragnarok, and DRG. Big Brother Cure, featuring Solar, Cure, and Armani. And SSB, featuring Sue, SOS, and Bunny. So you can see our full schedule here. We'll be playing group stages all the way through June 16th and 17th. And then on the 18th and 19th, we will be doing our playoffs based on how all of our different components work in our matches. So we'll find out as we go forward through time what to expect in terms of playoff action. Alrighty. So, today we are going to be starting with our first matchup between Why Are You Here and 3 Zerg. We're going to get to find out in a bit of time what players are going to be put up first to the test to kick everything off. Right now, if we take a look at the different players here in Aligulac, we've got, rather strong players on our first 2 teams here. Obviously, our 3 Zergs are all Zerg players, going to comprise of some of the best Zerg in Korea at this time. We can see right now our official lineup. Going to be Zestat Special versus Rogue Ragnarok, and DRG will be our first setup here for today. So I'm very excited to get this all warmed up and started for you. We're just going to wait for the Korean production to start getting us in. Looks like we've got a bit of match history between these three players. Looking like Rogue carrying some of the strongest win records in this tournament. 27 and 21. But I wouldn't count out the other players as well. Special not having any statistics just yet, but this is his first time officially with our team league production. So it'll be nice to see him added. I believe it is very possible, and I'm going to take a peek at this just to see if that is in fact the case, but he might be the first foreigner to participate in this event. I'm not entirely sure of that. I am gonna take a look here while we get ready to start our best of 5 series here. I'm looking backwards. Thanks for sticking with me here. I know this is like the riveting content that you have come to know and love with Alpha X Productions. I think this might be the case. I think it absolutely will be. And the excellent part here is that it is going to lead us into him being a part of this match. And we're going to catch him right away here. We're going to spawn onto Death Aura, spawning in the bottom right. Our blue Terran player is Special. Spawning in the top left, our red Zerg, DRG. Well, let me see if I can slide this up and over here. We're doing a little bit of production on the fly. Freaka TV having great sponsors as well, and LG that they want to make sure that they support. And we don't want to overlap that. So we're going to jump in here to map number 1. It's going to be on Death Aura, one of the smaller maps in the pool, as we get fired up here. Especially going to move down to that low ground and take his normal racks expand. And DRG also going to open up with a rather macro setting as well. So we're going to open up this whole thing with just a little bit of macro. Not going to get anything too terribly crazy here in game number 1. Going to work on trying to get that audio balanced as beautifully as we possibly can. My first time working with a live feed, and I'm slowly, well, not even slowly, I'm quickly learning here as we get into this game. So if for some reason you see something that seems a little funky, feel free to let me know in the chat. I do keep my eye on it every so often. Our observer here showing off the acceleration zones here in Death Aura, something that's a brand new asset in the map making world. Being able to come up with some new things to help keep these maps fresh and new, which I think is really, really interesting. Especially for Zerg on this map, it's a lot more common to be able to push across the map with something very, very fast to cause a little bit of discourse. Not uncommon to see queens move across the map as well with this. And DRG is going to get out and try and set up a little bit of scouting, a little bit of aggression. Taking the third base out in front of his base, not in the normal location at the 12 o'clock, but kind of putting it at about that 10:30 location. Special behind all of this, dropping a rather quick third command center, is going to reposition the factory onto the reactor. Pump out a couple of Hellions to get across the map. Stargate going down as well. Lings of DRG going to jump in to the front here. Does engage on the front bunker, but will it get a chance to see? And actually, the supply depot does go down. He is going to get a chance to get a good scout on the whole base. Is going to see everything there. So sees that quick third command center, does see the starport on the way, and throws down a Roach Warren as a response to that. A very, very good scout by DRG, and it is going to be quick battle cruisers here for Special. Now, Special can still leverage the advantage here of going into that quick battle cruiser rush. He does have that third base. If he can get that third base secure, he can still maintain a good economy against his Zerg opponent. But DRG now has knowledge on his side and is going to be able to respond appropriately, getting an adequate amount of queens, throwing down that Roach Warren to help deal with the Hellions that will try and harass at the front base location of DRG's third. And meanwhile, DRG going to run across the map with some Lings, trying to cause a little bit of chaos, at least check for the timing of that third. The depot's still down, so those Lings are going to get into the natural and take it down at least a little bit of mining time. 4 workers do get picked off as a part of it, so not a bad trade there. Special does get a chance to see those roaches. He doesn't want to over-engage, using that acceleration zone incredibly well. I mean, see how fast those units go. I mean, Hellions have always been considered fast units, but I mean, they're incredibly fast. But Special knows that DRG is moving across the map with some aggression, so these roaches are going to go put on some pressure, dropping a bunker at that front base. His armory is just about done, so he can help engage upon this with Hellbats. But Special's a little bit out of position right now. He has to be careful he doesn't get surrounded, and he is going to finally pull all of these back to the depot wall. And that is going to buy him just a little bit of time. Hellbats are going to be able to morph in, and he's going to be ready to go. But Special is very, very worried. He pulls all of those workers up into the main here. What's DRG going to respond to with this? The battlecruiser should be out and ready here in just a moment's time. How much damage can he get done? Those Lings attacking the mineral line here are going to get on top of the armory. Ooh, that actually would make that very, very useful. No more Hellbat production. Well, no more opportunity to transform into Hellbats at this time. So those Lings trying to engage on top of anything they possibly can. A lot of eliminated mining time, and DRG is going to be able to run away with all of his units. So nice. All things considered, a nice push here. Special does hang on to all of his workers, so economically, he's not going to fall that far behind. But he does have to remake the armory, and the armory is now going down. He is going to have to remake the wall, and that third base is going to be allowed to fly out to its location. But Roaches and Ravagers are going to lie in wait, so not quite going to be able to get that settled in. A Spire on the way for DRG. So far, DRG doing his best to try and keep his Terran opponent off his A game here. Special can be a very emotional player, so trying to utilize those mind games in a series like this is very, very important, in DRG trying to keep his Terran player off kilter as he gets out to his third base location. A second battle cruiser now joins the field. +1 vehicle weapons on the way for Special as he gets set up into this series. That worker count now starting to even out a little bit, which is very good for our blue Terran player. Anytime you can match that worker count in a TVZ, that is a very, very positive thing for Terran. And that Spire does go down immediately. 10 Corruptors hit the field. Now, there's still only 2 battle cruisers out, so he doesn't want to overcommit here with those Corruptors, but 10 is a very, very good number. Ling's trying to spot for those Hellions, and they are going to get them. Not going to really trade out for a whole bunch of Lings for just one Hellion. Not the world's greatest trade, but he's going to make it do as long as he has the scouting information. Especially not wanting to throw those Hellions away just yet to Roach and Ravager is going to pull those back. So now, if you're Special, where do you go here? You're down significantly in the army supply, 100 to 61. He does see those Corruptors and it does immediately have to leap back home, but he doesn't have a whole lot back here to defend against this. Some good turret coverage is going to be mitigated by the Roach and Ravager. And more Ravagers. Oh my gosh, so many Ravagers being morphed in by DRG right now. DRG is maxed out. He's just going to try and push across the map here. He has the supply that he wants. He has the economy that he feels sufficient with. He's out on 4 bases. And, I mean, the overwhelming army supply lead for DRG is just palpable at this point. And he's going to be able to engage on top of pretty much all of this. Looking for the nice surround here. A base is being built, but I just don't know if this is going to be enough for Special. One of those battle cruisers is going to fall almost immediately. Now the Corruptor is going to try and take down the second one, and once that battle cruiser goes down, there's just no air defense here for Special. DRG rolling into this area. He does have all of his ground army cleaned up, but DRG is still rocking that mad supply difference here, 176 to 129, and he is able to continue spending his money down and get his army count all the way back up. And Special is he's just limping along right now. He is trying to get that 4th base down and secured, plus 2 vehicle weapons on the way as well. Behind this for DRG, he is transitioning into that hive tech, throwing down that infestation pit, preparing to get himself a hive. But I don't know if it's even going to get to that point here. Special unable to really secure his 4th base location just yet. The tanks are going to try and do everything that they can. DRG's got to be careful. He doesn't want to be indecisive here. He's just going to constantly toss those units away to his to the tank count of Special. Corruptor's doing a nice job of picking off that 4th base, and that's actually really, really dangerous damage here for Special. Special really needs to get out to that 4th base. DRG now moving out to his 5th location. Just extending that lead further and further, picking up a whole potpourri of upgrades here. Baneling speed on the way. Oh, shoot. It's the Infestor upgrade that I can never remember. It's something glands, and unfortunately, I can't read the Korean. It's like, oh, yeah, he knows. He didn't just read the screen. Pathogen glands. There it is. Oh, I do know. Pathogen glands getting researched. +2 flyer attack. +2 ranged attack. DRG just getting the whole suite here. But this battle mech transition of the Special is a pretty good shot here. There's plenty of Ravagers to help deal with this. That Baneling speed going to finish up here soon is going to make the Roach Ravager army that much stronger. Special's not going to want to overcommit onto creep. And that Baneling speed is now completed here. Tanks are a little bit out here. They are going to siege. Can DRG get a good engagement onto these tanks? The battle mech caught up on the top side here. A few of those tanks go down, but 4 tanks in the back are allowed to continue firing away. So good engagement by Special. Is going to be able to push out onto creep and clean up a little bit of the tumors to try and push that creep back, which has reached out almost over halfway here. Liberator going to try and rain down onto the 4th base location of DRG, limiting a little bit of the resource mining here, but Corruptor's going to come and clean that. Infestors are already a very natural choice against the battle mech here of Special. Going to be able to land those fungal growths on top of the quick moving army units of Special. Ooh, DRG needs to be careful here. Tanks are already on position, trying his best to land Biles as effectively as possible, and he does an outstanding job here, pushing away the Liberator with all these Corruptors as well, getting on top of this army, and DRG, once again, just continues to remax and re-push out across the map. Outstanding positioning and play here by both of these players. Greater Spire just about finished for DRG. Battlemech's going to swing around the left-hand side, try to clean off more and more of this creep that continues to push out further and further. DRG actually having creep almost out to Special's 4th and 5th base location, which is not ideal. Like, it's going to get a nice contact surround on some of these Cyclones, and anytime you can kill off Cyclones with just Lings, that's a great trade for the Zerg player. Special just playing very, very well. I don't think he's doing a poor job, but DRG just showing why he is a consistent GSL contender, not only in Wings of Liberty and Heart of the Swarm, but definitely still here today in 2020 with Legacy of the Void. DRG once again maxed out, trying to do a nice little Dropper Lord here. But this Dropper Lord is dangerously low. I mean, it just falls to 1 turret shot. So not as effective as he probably would have liked it to be, but still going to get Special to think he's got to watch all of those corners. And now comes the biggest portion of his army here. Broodlord's already showing up in supply. 8 total. Special pushing back the ground army just a little bit here. Tanks are not going to be enough, and GG is called. And the first win of this series goes to Why Are You Here? And it's the 3 Zergs and DRG taking game number 1. So this is an all-kill format style event. So Special is currently out of his match for right now. We will go on to the second player in this series, which we will find out probably very, very soon who will continue playing. And DRG gets to play yet another game. So if you win your game, you get to keep on playing until you are all the way out. I think Special did a nice job in that game, trying to mitigate as much damage as he possibly can. But I think going for that early opener into that quick 3rd CC into battle cruiser, if you're the Zerg player and you can get that scouted, that's actually a very, very easy transition point for the Zerg player. So Special doing a nice job. Trying to get a little cheeky here in game number 1, but unable to make that pay off. Very, very interested. It would be very interesting to see the context that TY is bringing to this match. TY and Special, very, very good friends, play and practice a lot together. So I'm sure they're offering some very, very deep insight as to what's happening and why things went the way they did. But for us here in the English stream, we are always left just a little bit in wonder. So we are going to get set up and ready to go here for game number 2. We'll find out very, very soon who and where we will be playing. The 3 Zergs are going to continue moving down their list of potential players and get set up and ready for map number 2. We know it is going to be Dong Regu. The question is going to become who his opponent is. I was expecting to hear some music here in the caster scene, but it is very, very painfully quiet here. So then naturally, as the caster, I feel obligated to talk to you and give you some insightful information. But without knowing who our next player is going to be, I can't give you a whole lot of context. So what I will do Well, thank you for watching. You guys are catching the Afreeca TV BJ Destruction League Day 1. Right here on play.afreecatv.com/alphaxsc2. My name is Rushy. We have utilized one of the smallest maps in the pool. So I think we will only be moving upwards from there on size, shape, and variety. In fact, I'd be interested to know what your opinions are of the current map pool. I know we've been with the map pool since Wednesday. Oh, baby. We are actually gonna have to put that discussion on hold as we jump in to our second map here. We're gonna be jumping to Eternal Empire. Spawning in the top right, our red Zerg, Dong Regu, facing up against our blue Protoss player in Stats. So Stats, the next player. For team, why are you here? Stats has been having a pretty good year here so far in 2020. Already earning a significant amount of prize pool money. Did most recently win the Alimo League May finals. In GSL, I don't think he made it in incredibly far. Trying to... Oh, see, I have relocated my hotkeys, and I'm going to have to relocate them because I'm noticing that having no access to numbers is a bit annoying. So the good news is we're getting there, and we'll get her all figured out. Yeah, Stats actually getting out of his group of 32, but then falls in Group B in the round of 16. So Stats probably looking for a little bit of recovery here as he gets ready for Season 2 here. Now, Stats already being a little cheeky here, getting a nice block off on DRG's natural base. So he did force DRG into that third base location here at the outset of this game. Now, as a Zerg player, that does sometimes force you into a little bit more aggressive play style. Stat's going to try and keep the pressure on, though, as he does transition into that early Twilight Council. Twilight Council does offer you a lot of options here. You could possibly move into that quick Resonating Glaives timing attack. It does set you up for just a pretty standard Archon drop as well. So, a lot of different options here for Stats as he does scout forward. Does confirm that the natural at the third base location did, in fact, go down. So he knows that this is not going to be dedicated pressure by DRG. DRG trying to macro out of it. Does have his third base down. Stats is going to be able to see that here soon. Well, maybe not. He decides instead to pick off a Creep Tumor. Actually, a nice little pick there by Stats. And Stats is going to go into that Resonating Glaives timing here. Does get that researched as well. Robotics facility on the way as well. We're going to see a Warp Prism come out from that. And this is going to be very, very strong timing here for Stats. DRG does need to get some information here. Does try to dive on in. It doesn't quite see what he needs to. Both the Robotics facility and the Twilight Council haven't been scouted just yet. Zerglings alone do not do a very good job against this timing. All right, Roach Warren does go down. It is an exposed Roach Warren. However, if your stats, you're not going to be super focused on trying to take down the Roach Warren itself. It's going to be all those juicy, juicy drones that you want to connect with. The first set of Adepts do step onto creep. Some Zerglings do try and attack the wall here, get the Stalker dangerously low. But here come the Adepts. Resonating Glaive's going to finish up here in the next 5 seconds. And with that, this will begin. The Overlord does finally make its way into the base to get the Scout, but the Scout is going to be possibly too little, too late here. His stats trying to warp in as many of these Adepts as possible before engaging in. There is a fair amount of lings. 30 lings here will make this a little bit difficult for stats, but so many of these Adepts are just able to engage on top of these Queens so easily. Queen's starting to make contact with the Warp Prism, and that is a piece of technology that Stats absolutely has to hang on to. DRG just buying as much time as he possibly can, working on getting those roaches out in great numbers. 6 roaches already out, 9 more on the way. And the more roaches that DRG can get onto the field, the stronger this hold could potentially be. And DRG actually does leap ahead in that supply count, 52 to 37 in army. He's bought the time that he needs here. And DRG going to be brave. He's going to drone behind this. But now the game's going to start for Stats, where he bumps back and forth. Stats is going to drop that third base. Doesn't want to overcommit. DRG doing an outstanding job of holding in this position here. Reaching that 16 roach count here, has impeccable creep in between his bases, so those roaches are able to rotate back and forth. Leaving a fair amount of roaches back behind to engage on top of the Adepts here, pushing them all the way out onto the map. And the Zerglings are going to run out and across. I absolutely love this. It's going to be a great counterattack potential. DRG able to hold all of this off. And this third base is going to be under fire. The Zerglings jumping right in on top of the units, going to pick off of that pylon to eliminate warp in potential. Unfortunate set of events here. I think if DRG would have jumped in on top of that Nexus, he would have been able to cancel that. But the Nexus is able to stay in. But DRG is just going to push across the map. He has a great army force here. He is going to get some of those Ravagers, spend down the remainder of the gas that he has. And this is just going to rotate and pivot here into a big push by DRG. DRG 141 to 109. He's got so many varying units here. Good Ravager count to help deal with the force fields of Stats. And this is going to be a big moment here. Lings do pour on in. A nice big surround, but Stats has a good setup here, trying to protect some of those high value units. Warp Prism doing it as much as possible to juggle units as much as it can, but DRG just has so much. The positioning is good by Stats, but DRG has so many units that he can just get on top of that. not quite sure what DRG has posted here in the chat. Maybe getting a little cheeky with his opponent. But GG is going to be called, and DRG takes the second game in the series. Very well played by our Korean Zerg, doing an outstanding job of holding against his opponent. And securing a second win in the series. And this is now match point for the 3 Zerg. Zest is the only player remaining here for Team Why Are You Here? And if Zest cannot complete the reverse sweep here against Dongregoo, Rogue, and Ragnarok, 3 Zerg is going to win their match here and make this a very quick best of 5. Now, I have to say, we've set aside a lot of production time here for this opening match here. In fact, Liquipedia going so far as to say that this first series should last about 3 hours. 3. And we are on the cusp of letting that complete in about 45 minutes. So the cries of Terran and Protoss players around the world is like, all they do is cheese. All they do is rush. Dongregoo is just just making his mark here. And if we're being incredibly coy, Dongregyu, not even the strongest Zerg player on this team, sitting with a 25 rank on Aligulac, which is outstanding. But if you take a look at his partners, Ragnarok sitting at 22, just a little bit above. Rogue all the way up at rank 12. So Zest has got a little bit of work cut out for him. Zest, no slouch himself, does have a rank of 14 on Aligulac. So Zest is in fact best. His ranking against Zerg is, I mean, pretty strong. It only pales in comparison to his PvP. So in this situation, I mean, he is in a good spot to make himself a good claim in this series, but he does have to win all 3 in a row. Now, if you are not familiar with the format here, it is an all-kill situation. So think Nation Wars. Nation Wars is probably the best comparison here. The only thing that you don't have in Nation Wars is the fact where you can revive one player on your team. You only get 1 life as you go along, and it is to a best of 5. So the first to 3 wins it out. If you lose, you are no longer able to play in the remainder of that match, and it's set to good to go. So it is going to be Dongregyu versus Zest in our next series. We're going to find out our next map here in a moment. And we are just going to jump on in. So it's going to be on Everdream. Spawning in the bottom left, our red Zerg playing for Afrika Freaks. It's DRG. And up in the top right corner for Razor Edge Gaming, it is going to be Zest. Now, if you're Zest, you are looking at upwards of 3 games here. So, how do you approach this series? He knows that he's facing off against an opponent in DRG that has been playing some rather standard games, playing very reactively to his opponents. But we've already seen one ZVP in this series so far. And it comes off the heels of Stats being a bit of an aggressive player. We've seen Zest excel in really all facets of PvZ. Being able to work with those timing attacks, being able to drag the game out and get into that that death ball situation. We could see Sky Toss as well. And in the case of Zest getting to see his opponent go into that Resonating Glaive's timing, you would have to think that Zest is not also going to give that a try. Especially since he watched a DRG absolutely masterfully respond to it in game number 2. DRG is running out to that quick 3rd base. So getting that 3rd hatchery down at the 2-minute mark, and this is all behind just a normal macro opening. I had to take a moment there. My brain froze and I went, wait, is he doing this double hatch before gas pool? But no, just running out to get that 3rd base. Zest's gonna try. I think he's gonna try and give it a try himself. Maybe he looked at stats and went, no. That hit about 3 seconds too late. I know that I can make that stick a lot better. But he is gonna go for that very quick Twilight Council. We'll see here very soon what he wants to do with it in terms of tech progression. But the first Adept is going to get very aggressive onto Creep. He's going to try and engage on top of that, and he does pick off the Creep Tumor. He's going to be able to get out. A Stalker is on the way, more than likely just to help clean up the scouting Overlords. Overlord vision is actually pretty good. Was able to get a Overlord deep into the main base of Zest. And Zest is going to give it a try. He is going to go for that Resonating Glaives timing here in game number 3. So he must really believe in the build. I think it's quite interesting that he would want to give this a try. But Zest maintaining just a little bit better worker count over his opponent here in game number 3. Oh, this is going to be the difference here. So this is going to be way more all in than stats. Getting 5 gateways on the way. So this is going to be a 6 gate. Hard to see because I don't think there's 3 more gates. I don't think there are 2 more gates in the main here. Oh, a little bit of stutter by one of our players, but not an issue. We don't have to worry about it being us this time. Maybe my favorite part of this whole experience right now. And he is just going to warp those inside of his face. Overlord is going to try and dive on in here. That Stalker's going to try its hardest to deny the scout, but it's just going to be a little bit too late here. And that Overlord is going to be able to get all the way in and see all of the gateways. But what it did not see was the Warp Prism out in the center of the map. The Roach Warren is only now complete, so he has to buy himself a good amount of time. Some Lings do get up into the main. Oh, Lings actually get a great surround on all of these units. Oh, DRG handling this so beautifully, getting on top of all of these units, cleaning up everything at the front of this base. Queens are able to pick off the Warp Prism, and with this is really all Zest has to work with. He did get a big warp in here, so there is a lot to deal with, but it is rather strong. He's going to be able to work away at some of these workers, picking off 3 workers so far. Roaches only out in small supply right now, but some of these Adepts are so dangerously damaged and busted. Lings are going to be able to pick them off, and what a great hold by DRG. Oh, just running a clinic here on ZVP. And GG is called. Wow. What great play by Dongregoo. And Dongregoo, all kills. Team, why are you here? And that makes it simple. It's a 3-0 victory for 3 Zerg. 3 Zerg going to take the series with very convincing fashion. Dongregoo showing that he is looking good. 3 Zerg, 3 points. And we are going to move. We're going to progress forward. I mean, dang. Yeah. Like I said, we were on the cusp of having a quick 45-minute match. 3 hours. Psh, take that, production. Dongregoo's got other plans. That is an all kill by DRG. Absolutely, Sushi. I'm so glad all of you were able to join us. I'd be curious to know where are you viewing from today. I'd love to get a read. I'm actually casting from North America. It is currently 12:45. I consumed a large amount of energy prior to beginning this cast, so we'll be interested to see how this progresses forward. But I'll be very excited to hear where everything is coming from. So thank you so much for joining me. My name is Rushy. You aren't familiar with me. One of the team casters for Alpha X. Oh, oh, Afrika TV. You are always so spot on with all of your assets here. So 3 Zerg does get the all kill with DRG as they clean up the first match of this series. So that is going to move us into match number 2 here, where we are going to see just a little bit more on the way of different matchups here. More players, more races. And that will get us wound up for the next match between Team SSB and Team Big Brother Cure. So, Big Brother Cure going to feature players like Solar, Cure, and Armani. So we'll have 2 Zergs and a Terran. And Team SSB. Now you might be wondering, how did they come up with that name? SSB. It's super, super interesting and unique, right? Well, so it's Sue, SOS, and Bunny. SSB. Sue, SOS, Bunny. A nice, well-balanced team there in SSB. Sue playing Zerg, SOS playing Terran, or Protoss, excuse me, and Bunny anchoring down the Terran. My Zerg heart, feeling pretty happy. We're going to probably have mostly all sorts of good stuff. But we are going to take a short break here. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back with the second match of this series. You guys are watching the BJ Destruction League, brought to you by Afrika TV and Alpha X. My name is Rushy. We'll be right back right after this. Hello and welcome back to day one of the BJ Destruction Team League, brought to you by Afrika TV and Alpha X. My name is Rushy, and we are set and ready to go for our second match of the day between Team Big Brother Cure and SSB. It's going to be a nice little setup series here. We'll have to see if this match will move as quickly as the previous match did. Dongregu all killing Team Why Are You Here in our first match of the day, which does make that go rather quick here. I know production set aside a lot of time for these matches, and we are already ahead of schedule, which I absolutely love because it is definitely late here in North America. So we're taking a look at match number 2 here up on the screen. All of these players returning to the BJ Destruction League again for this season. We can see that Solar coming away with the most victories here in this matchup here. Sue, SOS, and Cure also taking away victories from these series. Bunny and Armani looking for their first, as everything gets put into perspective in this match number 2. So all these players are kind of doing a round robin style positioning in this tournament here. Got to find the right one here. So SSB and Big Brother Cure both playing here. Will find themselves playing tomorrow as well. So we have 5 different teams and 4 teams that play every day as a round robin rotation. So Why Are You Here actually not playing tomorrow. They will have their day off on Wednesday, and it's Beef Rice Stew that we won't see today, and that will be our all Protoss team of Patience, Trap, and Creator. So we won't see them today. We'll have to wait to see them tomorrow. But it's kind of fun to see all of these different teams play and queue up and get ready to go. And we are going to jump on in to our first game of the series here. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Death Aura. It's going to be our blue Terran playing for Kaizi Gaming, Bunny. And spawning in the top left, our red Zerg. Playing for the Afrika Freaks. Give it up for Armani. So I'm wondering here if our rotation of maps always starts with Death Aura or not. Trying to see if I can find any information on that, but I might not get what I'm looking for. But that's okay. Death Aura being one of the more interesting maps in the Season 2 2020 pool. And actually, I think it's very interesting, just the map pool in general. I think we have a lot of interesting maps utilizing many different techniques. Some very large maps, some very short maps, some maps that feature some gimmicks here, and Death Aura being one of them with those acceleration zones. Armani... Thank you so much. Sorry for that slight technical glitch here. OBS not playing nice. Hopefully that's not a common issue for me tonight. So sorry for the issue. Thanks for sticking around with me. as we do get wound up into this game number 1, Armani moving to that forward base as well, which I think is interesting. Dongregoo also taking that forward third base in Death Aura. I think that might be a meta shift that's happening here with our Zerg players. It'd be interesting to see if that is something that consistently happens throughout the course of these games. So we'll have to keep track of that. Well, thanks so much, again, for sticking with me. Many apologies. Hopefully that it will not be a big deal. So make sure, grab your friends, let them know that the stream's back up and running and live, so we can have some more great StarCraft 2. As we continue to wind up into this game, we do have an armory going down very, very quickly here for Bunny, and Armani able to spot it here with that Overlord is going to see the potential for that Hellbat timing. Liberator is also on the way. Behind this as a response, Armani getting that Baneling nest down. Lots and lots of Zerglings on the way. If he can get those Banelings in time, those Zerglings can zone out with Banelings and cause a lot of issues here. Bunny posturing up in the top side of the natural here, not quite committing into the siege just yet, but that's because Armani has got Zerglings into the natural here. Oh, this is crazy. The wall was down for Bunny, and Armani going to try and deal as much damage as possible, pulling all of the Hellions back home. Very, very frustrating here for our blue Terran, as he does lose that first Liberator, second Liberator trying to move across the map as well. But having all the Hellions go all the way back home, causing so many problems for the blue Terran. He's going to try and commit once again to getting that damage done. Second Liberator does find a little bit more damage second time around, only picking off 2 drones, but is able to fly back and away. The Zerglings of Armani going to try and punish once again, attacking the wall, but the wall is able to hold this time around. Everything is up and where it belongs. But the positioning of the Queens are great for Armani. Armani able to pick that off, only losing 4 more workers. So, all in all, only 4 workers going down in total. Oh, Banelings are going to be a big issue to deal with here, and they get some great connections, taking out 3 of those supply depots. He's going to be able to get in with those Hellions and clean that up, but the supply block is so brutal here for Bunny. Bunny's still trying to grab a foothold here. And this is what DRG did really well against Special in game number 1 of match number 1 on this map, consistently keeping that pressure on. Tank on the high ground will be able to push all of these Lings back and away, but not before they kill off a few of those Hellions. So behind all of this is going to be a Hydralisk transition. 1-1 now just completing up for Armani. Baneling speed on the way. Bunny with a little bit of delayed response here on all of his tech as well. 1-1 on the way. He's got combat shield incoming here. It's going to be this drop of 8 Marines going to head towards the main base and wait patiently. And actually, patience aside, they are just going to dive right on in. That Queen getting a lot of damage down onto that medevac, causing lots and lots of chaos here. But Bunny is going to try and engage on multiple fronts here going forward. Bunny does have those Hellbats up in position. Armani is going to be able to spot this. It's going to be 2 tanks that help anchor this down, but Armani does have a really nice army force here on this side. Bunny with the even army count, but he's got it split in 2 different locations. And Armani doing a nice job of getting on top of this. The Queens are going to have that position. They do pick off that Medivac, so all of the Lings from the main are going to be able to join this push here. Queens are going to be able to clean up all of the remainder of those Zerglings, and this is going to be a pretty decent surround here. Ling's going to get on top of these tanks, the Banelings with great connections. All of the tanks going to go down. Armani swarms on top of that push, and Bunny is going to be forced to fly back. And Armani with a decent amount of Banelings already, making this a very, very strong hold for Team Big Brother Cure. Now, Bunny has to try and figure out how he's going to bounce back. He is staying in this economically. Actually has a significant worker lead here, 72 to 67, which as a Terran player is outstanding. Armani needs to try and mitigate a little bit of that, and it's going to come in the form of a Zergling run by here in the main base. Bunny going to take that double drop and try and re-engage out across the map once again, and try and cause as much chaos as he possibly can. But with the addition of Hydras to this army, that is going to be able to push away some of these drops a little bit more effectively. But Armani out onto the map trying to push across, and this is going to be a very, very difficult push to try and deal with. He is just going to jump on top of that spawning pool. Spawning pool is going to go down, so a very frustrating moment here for Armani to deal with. The Lurker Den does get spotted as well, and with no significant tank count from Bunny, Lurkers are a good choice. And he actually has 2 Lurker Dens? Armani has 2 Lurker Dens going down at this time. Is that a bug or a feature? Armani, are you going to try and research both of the Lurker upgrades at the same time? Like, they don't even take that long. I think that's fascinating. I love this. So the first Lurker Den is going to be allowed to finish. Does Armani know? If we see both of the upgrades go at the same time, then we know that that was absolutely intentional. And Armani might just be 200 IQing this transition here. So we do see Lurker range. Are we going to see Lurker speed? Oh, I'll be interested to keep an eye on that. Bunny is making a good transition, though, in this series. Getting his 3-3 on the way. Tanks now starting to be added as a part of this composition. I don't think Armani knows that he has 2 Lurker Dens. Because if he did, he would absolutely be taking advantage of the fact that he could be researching Lurker speed at the same time. Big Widowmane drop here is going to be caught by the Spore Crawlers. But with Drilling Claws, they are going to be a little bit harder to spot. Good pull by Armani is going to save all of those workers. But now the Lurkers show themselves and are going to be able to move out onto the map. Where is the second Lurker Den? Where has he even built it? Okay, he only has 1 Lurker Den now. He must have canceled it last second. I think even the Korean casters must have been talking about that, because the Observer did take a peek at that. Viper's on the way to help deal with those tanks, as more tanks have been hitting the field. 5 Lurkers, not overcommitting right now for Armani, but wants to make the most of that siege potential of his army. Is going to be able to make the most of it here in this series. Bunny is going to try and build some more command centers to be morphed into planetary fortresses to help deal with a little bit of that mineral bank that he has going. But for the most part, both of our players sitting on a rather even worker and army count here. 124 to 119. Bunny with still just a couple worker lead. This is going to be a big drop. It isn't quite a doom drop, but four medevacs full of Marines is going to be difficult to deal with. It is going to force the army all the way back home. And Bunny is going to reposition on the back of this with the brunt of his army. Oh, one of those medevacs does get picked off. 13 workers go down for Armani, and this is going to become a very scary situation for him to deal with. The lurkers immediately get picked off, and Armani is going to be forced to try and engage this without his lurker army. In fact, he is just going to try and morph in some more of his own. 9 lurkers incoming. It's going to come at the cost of his base. Armani going to take these lings and just flood across the map. 3-3 is just about to complete. Actually, it's going to be 3-3 armor that's allowed to complete. Lurkers are going to get into position and try and get as much damage done. Oh, Bunny closing the door just in the nick of time. Going to try and knock this wall down and get in on top of the production. Bunny's just going to slow push here on the front side of the base. Armani getting a nice little wraparound on these Marines. One Liberator will be able to eventually kind of zone this off and clean this up, but it is big damage to say the least. 14 workers going down. The workers at the third base do get pulled away. There just is no answer for Armani on the other side of the map. Viper's doing their absolute best to pull these tanks in, and that was the damage that Armani was looking for. Is going to slow down that entire push. Bunny is going to have to go back, but I don't think Armani is going to try and let him here. He is going to try and get on top of this. Is able to reposition those lurkers to deal more and more damage. Lings do pick off 1 extra tank. And Armani is just making more lurkers. Is able to get out to that 5th base location, trying to keep everything to the left side of the map. Bunny actually choosing to get tons and tons of orbital is going to give him more opportunities for those scans to deal with lurkers. Is going to give him more mule opportunity as well. But I think Armani is going to try and go for a rather strong push, putting those lurkers actually in a really nice position to try and catch any of those counter pushes happening at this point in the game. But now Vipers are going to be necessary to try and break this siege position. Ghosts are a great option to deal with this, as they are able to work away at those lurkers from a safe distance. Now, Armani's going to have to respect that. He does pull back for the time being, but look at the bank of Armani. 2,400 minerals, 1,400 gas. Bunny is still trying to get himself back up to a maxed out army supply, and he's doing it off of the heels of a little bit of a mineral bank. Picking off this base would be very, very nice, but the Zerglings are going to shove that all the way back. Armani continuing to expand as well. And Bunny's going to have to go back into what Bunny does best, double dropping on different sides of the map at the same time to try and pull Armani apart. But Armani's map sense is very, very strong at this point. Swinging around to the bottom side here. This is now a better push for Armani to deal with. He's going to try to break down the wall at the 3rd base location. And Lings do pour on in. He's going to get on top of the tank, and it's just the 1 tank here. Ghosts are going to help level that off, but once again, Bunny managing to take a base for his trouble here. And he's going to try and work on the 5th base as well, and this 5th base is going to go down. Absolutely stunning play by Bunny, not allowing Armani to continue getting ahead in this series. But now a Nidus Worm. A Nidus Worm is going to be something that Bunny cannot ignore. He has to deal with that. Bunny is getting a lot of damage though, and Bunny is able to mitigate the damage of that Nidus Worm, getting his base back in on top. And we've got ourselves a little bit of a slugfest here. A bit of an anything you can do, I can do better moment. Vipers pulling those medevacs back and away, so dealing some good damage to the counter potential. But look at that ghost count. The ghost count is so crazy. 16 ghosts. I mean, it limits so many of Armani's opportunities, right? Armani's got to be mobile in case Bunny decides to go into nukes. He's not able to go into the Ultralisk count because snipes will just be so good against that. Oh, the wall's actually left open here. Mines are going to try and mitigate some of this damage, but there's going to be enough Zerglings to deal some good worker damage here. 5 workers are going to go down. Maybe a 6th if he positions that really, really well. Oh, and this is going to be a Nidus Worm that does not get dealt with very well. Lings are going to come pouring on in, and that's going to force Armani to jump on top of this base. This is going to be a lot of damage done to the Planetary Fortress sitting at the top, but there's no detection here. No detection, and these ghosts are just going to snipe away. 18 workers do go down on the heels of it. So it's not a bad engagement here. But these ghosts are going to continue to be a pest and a nuisance as Armani does not have very good detection right now to go along with these armies. There goes yet another base of Armani. Bunny dealing as much damage as he possibly can. Both players trying to backstab each other at the same time, causing lots and lots of damage. Now Bunny is able to get his sixth base, excuse me. He is able to get his 6th base resecured, working on trying to take that 7th base as well. And making the most of Death Aura here. I mean, this is a great game number 1. Both of these players dragging this one out. It doesn't look like we're going to see Bunny go into nukes. There's only one Ghost Academy at this point. But just look at the potpourri of units and structures by both players. Armani is going to sink a lot of resources into this. He does kill off the Planetary Fortress, but gosh, at what cost? It comes at the cost of so much of Armani's army supply. Now, Armani does have a nice amount of units, but he doesn't have any larvae. He does lose 12 workers off of the head of this as well, maintaining just a slight worker lead. And getting himself progressed further and further. We are going to see nukes. Oh, the caster curse is real. We are going to see nukes. It's just not going to be in large supply. It's just going to be 1 nuke at a time. But 1 nuke at a time is all you need if the army clumps up here. A couple of those lurkers are going to get whittled away, but last second, the lurkers do clean up the ghosts. Bunny able to take another base here, and Armani cannot continue to lose bases. He's losing access to resources. He's losing access to his larva count. And this is now starting to become very scary damage for Armani. Lurkers are going to be able to get on top of some of these ghosts, only pick off 1 or 2 for their trouble. But this is now finally a good overseer count. Oh, but the ghosts are just so strong. Those snipes are just too good. The lurkers are going to try and hold this siege location, but tanks are so much better at sieging than the lurkers are. And these ghosts are continuing to snipe well outside of attack range. And Bunny makes this a strong game 1 for Team SSB. And GG is called. I think I heard the hearts and souls of all the non-Zerg players around the world cry out in joy. The Zerg has been defeated! We've done it! Yes! My Zerg heart just like cries just a little bit. But we are going to have our first non-Zerg victory of the day. It is going to come off the heels of Bunny's good performance against Armani. We're going to have to see where we move into Big Brother Cure. When will we pull out the namesake player for this team? The question is not if, it will be when. Cure and Solar are both players that are available to play in game number 2. Bunny will continue forward. Once again, just in case you are joining us, this is an all-kill format. So it's going to be a best of 5. Each team has 3 players. First team to eliminate all 3 players will win the match and move on to the playoff bracket in a very good, convincing fashion. And we are going to jump right on in. It looks like we have found our next player. Spawning in the top right, our blue Terran for Kaizi Gaming is Bunny. Going up against our red Zerg. Playing for Into the Clan. Give it up for Solar. At least I think that was the Into the Clan logo. Solar officially teamless according to Liquipedia. That was definitely the Into the Clan logo. I love that. Alphax has a great partnership with them. So, very, very good stuff here as we get set up for map number 2. Solar actually getting out onto the map with a Zergling, or excuse me, a drone here. I think he's just scouting for the proxy. Solar's been hurt before. I've seen many, many online games where Solar opens up super, totally macro and normal. But meanwhile, Innovation's out on the map going, ha, you think I made my barracks in my main base? Joke's on you. My computer AI system has predicted that you will not scout in this exact location. And usually Innovation is right. But it's not Innovation, it is just Bunny. So Bunny is going to open up with a pretty standard set here. Doing a normal Rax expand. Nothing too out of the ordinary. So now we're going to have to see where we can go into game number 2. Because we are on Everclear. Everdream. Oh, you can tell it's that time of night. My mind is on what will put me to sleep. Not what will keep me up and going. Like the power of G Fuel. Solar not quite ready to take that third base. Does dive that drone back just in case, but Reaper does end up just going into the main base to deal as much damage as possible. Third base is going to go down. Reaper is going to get a little bit of damage here. Long amount of time here before the Queen pops out. Now the Reaper is going to be forced to back out and away. But does walk away with a kill to his name. Oh, can he get it? Oh, that Queen. If that Queen had 8 range, I think it would have snagged that Reaper. One of just the many myriad of changes brought into this most recent patch. So it will be interesting to see. I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of it in the BJ Destruction League team league here in this next week. But I think over the course of the next month, we're going to start seeing that meta evolve a little bit. We haven't had a whole lot of use of the Protoss battery overcharge either. But I know Protoss players are starting to work into their build vocabulary. How can I utilize this to help anchor down my build order and my defense, especially in Protoss versus Zerg? I haven't had a chance to see much of that just yet, but it will be very interesting to see where it goes from here. So we're going to see Cloak Banshee come out here for Bunny as the choice of tech. The Overlord is going to be able to scout on in. What is it going to see? I think it is going to get a full scout on all of that tech. So he's going to know that Cloak Banshee is on the way. Yep, that is going to get in far enough. Baneling Nest going to go down at the front of the natural to help make a little bit of a natural wall. How is Solar going to respond to this? He's got an okay worker count right now. He has to preserve that as the Hellions and the Banshee are on the way. Zergling does sneak into the back of the natural to cause a little bit of chaos and buy him just a brief amount of time. But Spore Crawler's already on the way as well. The Banshee does arrive a little bit early, so it doesn't quite have Cloak just yet. And now with Cloak researched, that is going to start pushing on in. And actually the Banshee rotates in a nice fashion here. Out of the range of the Spore Crawler here at the third base, while the Hellions trying to get as much damage done as possible. Queens do rotate up to try and deal with that, and these Hellions are going to get cleaned up. 5-6 workers have gone down. There still is no answer to that Banshee just yet. That Spore a little bit out of position. The second Banshee does come up, and he picks up the Spore Crawler, and the Spore Crawler is not able to spot just yet. Okay, does get planted down, and one of those Banshees will get picked off, but it comes off the heels of 9 worker kills. So Bunny's got to feel okay with that. Solar with a very, very good lead, though. He's already into Spire Tech. His lair already completed. 1-1 on the way, and Solar able to continue pumping out those drones. I mean, Bunny's got to feel okay with that transition, but from a supply standpoint, I mean, he is still laying pretty low here, not able to get that worker count completely caught up, sitting at 52 workers right now. 1-1 on the way, combat shield as well. But it's going to be Mutaling Bane that comes out to deal with the biotank of Bunny. Solar is able to get out to his 4th base, going forward to take that forward expansion that has that rich Vespene geyser, going to try and utilize that gas income to afford those gas-expensive Mutalisk. So if you're Bunny, where do you go from here with the Cloak Banshee that you have? I don't think that he's going to get a whole lot more done here. Bunny is going to jump on top of this 4th base here. Not a whole lot of creep connecting just yet in front, so that base is going to get picked off. Nice little catch here by Bunny will buy him just a little bit more time. 8 Mutalisk on the way. Those will be hitting the field here rather quickly. So Bunny does need to back off. He doesn't quite have enough to deal with the Mutaling Bane of Solar. Solar does have a sizable army advantage, 56-44. And he is going to have to respect those mutas for the time being. But he's going to dive forward here. No tanks on the ground just yet. One does get dropped and sieged, but the second one is not able to get anything accomplished. These Banelings are so brave, jumping out on top of the bio of Bunny. Bunny not able to stutter step that just yet. Is able to clean up those tanks, and Solar trying to rotate around to get that 4th base set and installed. It's only about halfway done. Meanwhile, Bunny trying to expand on his push here. Getting that worker count set into place, throwing down all of those extra factories here to transition to supplement a little bit more tank. And behind this, Solar is just doubling down on that Mutalisk count. He is getting +1 flyer upgrades, 1-1 melee, and Carapace on the way as well. So Bunny a little bit ahead in the ground. That ground force upgrade battle. Mines are going to be a thinking point here for Solar. He could very easily accidentally fly his Mutaflock into mines and find himself in a rough position. He actually doesn't have Overseer speed just yet, so working on getting that pneumatized Carapace upgrade, and that will actually finish up here rather soon. And 1-1 is going to complete as well. So Solar actually very, very behind on that upgrade front, because Bunny is actually already 2/3 of the way to having his 2-2. Eating yet another mine shot. Finally, pneumatized Carapace is allowed to finish. But with an ample amount of coverage by the turrets, so that is going to get shoved away. Big engagement in the center of the map here, but the Ling Bane is not going to be able to connect with the army of Bunny. And Bunny going to try and deal a ton of damage here. But he's going to have to protect his 4th base. All the workers do get pulled as this double drop does fly into the main base. Spore Crawler is going to be able to spot for this initially, but not a whole lot there to deal with that. Solar is going to have to pull his army all the way back to deal with this. These mines being super patient. Not quite able to connect with those Mutalisks. And the Mutas are going to be given enough time to clean that up. Big run by here. Could still potentially try and engage on that. Wants to use the Banelings just to engage on to the supply depot wall. And that does actually force Bunny into a bit of a supply block. Excellent Baneling micro here by Bunny. Going to catch the Creep Queens out and away. Those are going to have to use some very important transfuses as Bunny leaps onto Creep here. He does not have any room to make more units right now. 3-3 upgrades on the way. His 2-2's already done. This is going to get so much damage here. The 2-2 of Solar is not quite complete, so he is playing from a bit of a disadvantage here. But he does have that creep spread that Bunny is very, very deep onto. But not enough Lings here to supplement with the Baneling count of Solar. And Bunny is going to be able to get so much damage here. He's going to pick up that 5th base once again. And these Marines just do not have an answer by Solar. Solar's army supply is plummeting. Bunny continues to push in advance. The Mutalisks are going to try and jump on top of the Medivacs here and pick away at a little bit of damage, but Bunny just has enough Bioforce on the ground. Thor on the opposite side is going to provide some zoning as well. And these Mutalisks are going to try and jump on top of the reinforcements because that's about all Solar can do. He just doesn't have enough to jump on top of this. Banelings do not trade very efficiently here. Solar trying to get anything he possibly can in this second game here. He's fighting for his life. His 3rd base goes down, and this is pretty much an all-in situation here for Solar, as he still does not have a big answer for the Bioforce here of Bunny. 3-3, almost 60% done here. The 2-2 of Solar has officially kicked in, but it is very, very noticeable that Bunny has just been able to leverage this for much, much longer. The Thor finally weak enough is able to fly away here. Mutalisks are going to try and engage on top of it, and they do pick off the Thor. Those Medivacs are in dangerous waters here. Oh, the Mutas not jumping on top of that just quite yet. So Solar in a bit of a pickle here. He does have a pretty decent worker count. Still 73 workers out on the field, but needs to continue trading efficiently here if he wants to stay in this game. Oh, he's going to jump on top of the 5th base here. That does not have any static defense just yet. The Bio Army of Bunny will be able to shove that off. The mines on the north side will prevent Solar from rotating, and Bunny is just able to continue reproducing in a much, much stronger fashion. Yeah, those Mutas trying to get as much damage done as possible. Solar being so efficient with those Mutas. Unfortunately, finding it difficult to deal with the Bioforces here, but there's actually just a few bit too many Marauders. The Mutalisks are able to jump on in, and he's trying to target fire those Marines as much as possible, because if he can, he knows that those Marauders are just open season for all the Lings. Lots of mines burrow, but not a lot of mine shots, and Solar making the most of these Mutalisks. Oh my goodness. He's evened up the army supply. Solar's going to try and push and leverage here. He doesn't want to run into those mines, though. Mines connecting with a little bit of the Zergling Force. Not too bad. Adrenal Glands just about done here, as Ultralisks are going to be hitting the field to help supplement Solar's army. 4 Ultras on the way. That 3-3 is very, very close to being done as well. Drilling Claw is now just finishing up for Bunny. Yet another great series here. I think these first 2 games have gone almost as long as the first series. The first match went. So Solar doing everything he can to not count himself out just yet in this game number 2, trying to get some Banelings to morph into a run-by, but that's not going to be able to connect. Bunny is able to scout that. And Bunny with a maxed out army is going to once again try and push across the map and push in his Zerg opponent. Oh, a very good army shot. Or actually coats all of those mutas, making that very, very difficult to continue engaging here. As both of our opponents now trying to posture, trying to find all the right ways to engage on this map. More Banelings incoming for Solar. And this is going to be a big trade here. Those mutas are going to come and try to come back home here to deal with the army of Bunny. The Ultras making good use of themselves, picking off one of the Thors. Once the Thors go down there is not a lot that can be done. The army up on the top here trying to engage. Solar hitting in so many different locations. It's even difficult for the Observer to try and snag, but one of the bases does go down for Solar. Oh my goodness, 26 kills on that planetary fortress, making itself known that it is here to stay. It is not going anywhere in this game. And Solar just continuing to try and struggle to deal any of that critical damage to his blue Terran opponent. But I will give Solar credit where credit is due. He's managing to keep Bunny on a reasonable bank, not allowing him to get a whole lot banked up to be able to remax multiple times. Bunny is able to get that fifth base secured here. Oh, some really continuing. That one's actually going to hurt a lot here. As Solar does engage on the top side, does take out a good chunk of the army here. But he's got to be able to seal the deal here. Solar's also got to be very careful. Those Mutalisks very damaged from all those mine shots. The third base is going to get lifted, as Solar is able to pour on in here and get more damage. But once again, still looking for that devastating damage that he's just not able to find. It feels like Bunny is able to get across the map and pick off a base or pick off some key army units, like right here, working away on these Ultras. The Ultras finally now on creep, able to get away. But Solar just isn't able to connect on Bunny's side of the map just the same way. So now Bunny working on securing base number 6 and 7. And the more bases that Bunny is able to put up in this game, the more that Bunny will be able to trade less and less efficiently against his red Zerg opponent. I think Solar knows this, as he does try to rotate down to the 5 o'clock map, portion of the map. Corruptors getting added into this mix. Very worried about that Liberator count. Only 2 Liberators at the moment. Solar able to trade a little bit effectively here. He is able to keep his army at max supply, but does not manage to clean up that base in the bottom right. Bunny is able to push that back off and starts sieging forward to the 6 o'clock location. Solar does have to cancel that base. Big lit Zergling run by here at the natural is going to cause a lot of damage, but here comes more base damage here. So Bunny and Solar are going to try and trade here. Oh, and Bunny is able to push that off, but so is Solar. Solar not allowing Bunny to get that base kill, and that is the kind of rotation that Solar needs to continue to stay in this game. Both of these players hitting each other just about as hard as they are taking it as well. And both players not wanting to give up. They know that their team is counting on them. Solar looking to add a point to the board for Big Brother Cure. Flyer Carapace upgrade is about to complete here, so these mutas will have a little bit more sturdiness in them. We'll be able to take mine shots just a little bit more effectively, be able to trade out against some Marines just a little bit better. So they're trying to contemplate whether or not he wants to go after that 5 o'clock base, but he doesn't know that the army of Bunny is swinging up to the top side. He does have a big force here, and he is going to just engage on top of it. Decides to pull back at the last second. Not quite sure how he wants to engage here, but he is going to jump in now. Very good to swing around here for Bunny. Good stutter step, micro back, but he's just run out of places to go. All of his units are kind of caught in the corner here. Solar is able to jump on top of this. So many of those medevacs are going to go down. In fact, every single one is going to get picked off. That's the damage that Solar has been looking for. He's been looking for that hit that Bunny will have a very difficult time building back from, and that was it. Killing all of those medevacs will cost Bunny so much gas to try and rebuild. And Bunny just doesn't have the time. Solar's going to push across the map. He is still maxed out here. He's going to be able to pick all of these off. Bunny does have a significant ghost count, but with some good vision here by Solar, he is going to be able to get on top of these ghosts, and he just needs to stay vigilant here. Oh, he can't afford to lose all of that vision, and now the vision is gone. Those Banelings could potentially engage on top of this, but Solar is going to have to back off. Oh my goodness. Bunny's going to try and do everything he can to get back into this game, and a big mine drop here is going to get 13 workers picked off for Solar. Solar getting the army damage that he was looking for, but now he's not able to find the economic damage, and Bunny is back at work here with Ghost dropping nukes. Solar doing a good job of pulling the workers, so not losing the workers to the nuke. Flyer attack level 3 is here and on the way, so the Muta is going to just be more and more effective as they move across the map. Liberator trying to deal more damage here, and Bunny just continuing to move forward and kill as much as he possibly can. Yeah, look at that income disparity here. Solar actually keeping it pretty close, all things considered. But Bunny is making it very, very difficult. Multiple nukes on the way. Solar needs to be careful that he doesn't accidentally throw his army away, but does look like he picks off one of the nukes. The second nuke is going to hit an empty base. Not anything of consequence. These Banelings are going to get in and deal a lot of good damage here, picking off 6 workers and getting the planetary. That's good damage for Solar. Both players with a sizable mineral bank to play from, which does give them a set place where they can actually continue harassing. Hellions can continue to come out here. But for Solar, it's going to be the Ling Flood. That is very, very dangerous. If Solar can hold on to these gas-heavy units, he'll be in a good spot. But Bunny does have to back off here. He does not have that much to deal with this whole swarm here. Ling's going to continue to plunder on forward. Liberator is going to try and siege up, but isn't going to get a whole lot done here. The Corruptors and Mutas are going to get on top of that, and these Banelings continue to pour forward. The splits are just so good. The Blinding Clouds continuing to add more power to Solar's army, but look at the supply plummet, 186 to 111. Solar has waited 25 minutes to actually get damaging done. He's dancing the Zerglings. He knows he has secured this win, and the Banelings are able to pour on in. The Ghosts are going to be good, but I don't know if they're going to be good enough. When Liberator will be able to sit that down. Did Solar get too big for himself? Is he able to remax? This is the question. Yeah, here come the 44 Lings. He is going to pick up another. Ultralisk, but look at the income here. Oh my gosh, he was at 600 and now jumping up over 3,000 minerals. Mules are so good. Mules are so good. Solar better hope that dancing those Zerglings isn't going to cost him the game. Bunny's going to like Super Saiyan himself back into this series. Because as long as that bottom right base is allowed to have those mules, and I mean, he's going to get full value out of those. Bunny is going to be able to reproduce all of his Marines and get himself back into this game. But the Corruptors have more than paid for themselves here in game number 2. Both players fighting tooth and nail. I'm actually very, very surprised that Solar wasn't able to end this, but he is maxed out once again, does have all of the upgrades that he wants in this series, has not been able to take off that planetary fortress, and he is at a bit of a economic disadvantage. But I think it's just going to be a matter of time here for Solar getting some Banelings in on top of those valuable mules. 17 workers going down. Lots of mules as well, engaging on multiple locations. Solar once again able to bring Bunny down to the 117, 118 supply range. And Solar behind it is able to just continue to remax. But both of their banks are rather low. Bunny losing 31 workers. This is the moment that Solar has been working for. Both banks are relatively low, and Bunny does have units that can deal lots and lots of splash damage, so Solar cannot afford to just throw his units away. He is going to get that orbital to lift and fly away, which is good damage, denying one more base. And Solar just trying to secure those bases, not necessarily to mine from, but just to deny Bunny the opportunity. This creep is receding rather quickly, but it is going to buy Solar enough time to try and engage on top of this army. And actually a very good surround here in the center, getting set up by Solar. A nuke's going to pull him all the way back home. Is he going to be able to spot this? Yeah, he absolutely will. He's going to snag that before that nuke goes down. So now Bunny trying to rotate to the top side of the map to claim his throne. But Solar just has so much here. Lings are going to come pouring in from every angle. Blinding clouds force the army to split in ways that Bunny would prefer not to. And as the army supplies plummet, I believe it is all over but the GG. As Bunny drops below 60 supply, Solar is able to just continue pouring Lings out across the map. And with the gas that Solar has left, he will be able to pick up more Banelings. Bunny hanging on for every second that he possibly can here, trying to get the most out of these mines. But I just don't think it's going to be enough. Bunny really only mining off of 2 bases right now. He's only got 22 workers. Mules are good, but each mule only adds the value of about 5 workers for a short amount of time. So even on his 6 workers, or 6 mules, he's only getting himself back even. Yeah, and this orbital is not going to last for very long. That orbital goes down. I imagine most of Bunny's hopes do as well. But look at Bunny fight this out. Bunny not tapping out. Look at that income, though. 2,600 minerals per minute to the 1,000 of Bunny. Solar time and a halving the income. This orbital is actually going to, if it doesn't just get killed, it will burn down. So Bunny does have to do something about that, or he's going to lose one of those orbitals. But he's way too busy focused on the top side of the map here. Solar doing a nice job of splitting up his Lings to not eat those mines all at once. And I think this is finally going to do it. Queens get brought into the fray. GG is called. And Solar cleaning this up just under 30 minutes in this game to bring a point for his team here in game number 2. Well played by both of our opponents here. What's up, everybody? I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Mine's a fantastic night here. It is currently 1:50 in the morning. I'm very excited to be casting the day 1 of the BJ Destruction Team League here on Afrika TV, brought to you by Alpha X. Do want to take an opportunity to shout out some of our sponsors here that are helping make some of these events possible. Definitely very, very happy with our new sponsor, Titan EX1. You can see their logo down below. We're so grateful for their support. But we also have a great new sponsor for Alpha X that we will try and do here really quick. If I am a smart man, I mean, we're asking for a lot here to be considered a smart man. And that is in our sponsor, Manscaped. Father's Day is right around the corner, and our new sponsor, Manscaped, has the perfect gift to give or receive. Their state-of-the-art line of grooming products features skin-safe technology to practically eliminate nicks or scratches and has new, easily replaceable blades to ensure you're always getting perfect shaves. Manscaped has other equally as innovative grooming products for men, like their anti-chafing deodorant, their body wash, so your below deck areas get special treatment. Make sure to click on Manscaped's sponsor quest and use the Matcherino code on checkout to get 20% off. You can go to www.manscaped.com. And again, that code is Matcherino. You can use that to get 20% off your purchase from Manscaped. And we're so happy that they are able to provide us with great sponsorship, not only for Alpha X casts like this one, but for all of the Alpha X productions that we do here, not only on Afrika, but also on Twitch.tv. So thank you so much for them providing sponsorship in this event. We're going to have to see here what happens in game number 3 as we wind up Solar versus his next opponent from SSB. We've seen Bunny, but now we get a chance to see either a Zerg or a Protoss next up in this series. So hopefully we'll find out here in just a moment. I'm so glad that you guys are able to join us. We've got such a great viewership. Thank you so much for those of you that came back after the initial technical difficulty. I'm not exactly sure what happened. I guess OBS decided it at like 110 that it needed its government union mandated break, and it got it. I mean, it got all 7 seconds of that break before having to jump back in. So I'm so glad that you guys are here. Thank you so much. Feel free, hop onto your Discord chats, hop into your chat rooms. Let people know that this cast is going on. We are the only English broadcast of this tournament, so we are so thrilled to be able to provide this for you. This is going to be a 7-day event, so this is just day number 1 of our 7-day Team League event right here on play.afrikatv.com/alphaxsc2. And we've got a lot of fun, exciting things to share with you. So many good games. And we are ready and jumping in to game number 3. It's going to be on Submarine. Spawning in the bottom right, our red Zerg. Playing for Into the Clan is Solar. And his opponent in the top left, our blue Zerg player, Sue. And already Sue going for the super quick spawning pool. Now, Solar has been playing these games out in a very macro-oriented fashion. Sue playing for the Afrika Freaks, by the way. Make sure that I keep that information handy. So Sue's going to see if he can get some good damage done. And actually, I mean, this is just going to be a 12 pull. Sue, what are you doing? He's flexing now. Just going to flex on his opponents here. Looks like our Korean caster's talking about the ravine here in the center of the map. That's got a little bit of low ground. Oh, he's just pulling everything. He remembers watching Rogue versus Scarlet in GSL Season 1, where Scarlet just dumpsters Rogue with this pull. Solar's not going to... Oh, he scouts it for like literally 0.2 seconds. Okay, so now he is going to see it here, but he sees it a couple of seconds late. I mean, every second counts in this poll. So if you are Solar, what do? You are on Submarine. You are on the verge of losing here. His spawning pool is only now finishing. Okay, one spine's going to go down. Sue only has enough for one more spine. So the drone drill is going to get in very, very quickly here for Solar. His Zerglings are going to spot out here, but let's take a look at the worker count here. Solar still maintaining. Oh, gets an amazing surround. Su completely surrounded here. I mean, this is not going to last very long. Solar getting a great engagement here on his opponent. And this Spine is going to be able to finish, but is not going to deal the damage that it needs to deal. Su is able to, or Solar, excuse me, is able to pick that off, and GG is called, and Solar holds for game number 3. Well played. Well played by our Red Terran. Making that look easy. Making that look easy peasy. Doing a really nice job of drone drilling into that mineral patch to mitigate the damage for as long as possible. And then I actually really enjoyed, he takes his drones and he moves them to the opposite side so that way his lings can get in and sandwich on top of Su's forces. So actually really, really brilliant play by Solar, giving himself an extra advantage in that series. And that's going to move us to a match point for Big Brother Cure. Solar going to be able to continue playing here. We are going to see the final player of SSB. We are going to see SOS come up next. So it's going to be a ZVP. Oh my gosh. Have we played a non-Zerg game this whole night? My heart. Oh, my caster heart. Making it easy for me here on day number 1 of the Afrika TV BJ Destruction League. Absolutely loving it. Absolutely loving it. So thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out and joining me. We're more than likely going to be jumping into game number 4 here rather quickly. We'll have to see if it's going to be a quick 3-1 victory for Big Brother Cure, or will SSB be able to drag this out to a rubber match and get Big Brother Cure out onto the field to play? We're going to have to find out here soon. But it looks like we have some great commentary by my Korean colleagues here. I mean, it's not every day that we get to cast with TY, right? Dang, look at that. I'm sure they're offering, again, like this deep, insightful analysis of how game number 4 went down. And here Rushy sits, talking about how he's fangirling. Alrighty, we are, I'm certain we are ready for map number 4 here. It's going to be Solar versus SOS. It's going to be a ZVP. Now, SOS definitely known for being a semi-aggressive player in this series. Will he bring out the same kind of timings that we saw in the last matchup with Zest and Stats, going for that very early timing with the Resonating Glaives and Adept timing? We'll have to see. It is not proved to be as strong as it could be for getting into the later portions of the game, but we did also see both of those Protoss play on Death Aura, which is a smaller map. If we do find ourselves on a little bit bigger map, it is possible that we could see that drag out a little bit longer. We are going to go to Pillars of Gold, so new map, new excitement. We do have Solar spawning in the bottom left, and his opponent in the top right, playing for his last team life. It is SOS. So, we did talk about this being the Protoss being limited to smaller maps in the first series. But now Pillars of Gold is a little bit bigger. That is going to allow for a lot more potential and opportunity here in this game number 4 series, excuse me. Oh, and Solar is going to be able to get out a little bit late the probe of SOS already meeting him at the natural. So Solar is going to be forced down to his third base, which on Pillars of Gold is rather far away. I mean, you can see the distance between the natural and the third base expansion. And that will cause Solar a little bit of grief, more than likely going to push him into a more aggressive build. But SOS is just going to swing around and just do a normal gateway expand on his side of the map. So, entirely possible. We could see SOS play this out and take advantage of the small amount of economic damage that he's done to his opponent here so far. But this also could be a good position to try and abuse his opponent with those Resonating Glaive Adepts. He's picking up that second gas. Solar, I kind of wondered if maybe he would just try to take that early third, but doesn't look like he wants to option for that. He's just going to focus on getting that drone count up as quickly as he possibly can. Getting those Zerglings and Queens out onto the field to help push this away. It is going to be a quick Twilight Council for SOS. We might just see another Resonating Glaives timing here. Oh, that probe being so annoying is now officially blocked this base twice. Zerglings are going to be able to push that away. He is going to try and drop a pylon to delay that as much as possible. That will finally go down. So Solar will be able to take his third base, albeit a little bit delayed. And I think we're going to see a Resonating Glaives timing. That robotics facility going down as well will open up the opportunity for that Warp Prism to come in. And some good drone micro by our Zerg player, and there it is. We do have Resonating Glaives. So SOS going to try and punish Solar for having to take his third as his second base. And this is a map that has a lot of distance in between the three bases, so will make that defense a little bit more difficult for Solar. But SOS is going to have to manage this as well on his side. Now, this isn't the super aggressive version that Zest brought in the previous series. It isn't going to be on the heels of a 6-gate. But SOS is going to add a little bit to it. It looks like it's just going to be a just 5. Just a 5-gate scenario. But Solar hasn't done what he needs to do to scout this out. Still only working on Zerglings. Now as Roach Warren goes down, but as Roach Warren is super late, he's not going to be able to have Roaches to deal with the initial push here. So Solar is going to have to be very, very careful. Looks like a couple more Queens coming out, so the Queen count is going to increase to help push away the Warp Prism. But Resonating Glaives is here, and it is here now, so the warp-ins will begin here. Only able to warp in 4 or 5 at a time. Not as strong as it could be. Solar does have a nice supply lead to help deal with this, but here comes the juggle. Those Zerglings going to stay right on top of those Adepts. Not going to be able to shade in just yet. Dark Shrine's going to come down behind this, so this is not an all-in for SOS. He is going to try and supplement this with Archons after the fact. But still no third base, and we're at the 5-minute mark, so this might be more all-in and aggressive than I think. Adept's not going to make the leap forward just yet, although those Queens getting rather out of position. He's got to be careful. He doesn't want to just toss those away to those Glaive Adepts of SOS. Solar's army continues to climb here, 50 to 36. Those Roaches adding in more and more pressure. Sensing that there could be something fishy on the way, he does drop Spore Crawlers at his outside bases. So DTs are not going to be able to warp in freely. He is going to have to make use of those in a different facet. But he does force his opponent up into the main base. He actually going to complete the shade here. Does a nice job of engaging at the top of the ramp and does kind of choke up the roaches of Solar. Solar actually losing quite a lot here, and it is going to be DTs on the back side of this that are going to try and punish him on the natural. And the DTs are going to come waddling on in. These Adepts getting so much value here. And, oh my gosh, the DT's actually just going to dive right on into the main base. And there's no Spore Crawler in the main. So the main hatchery is going to probably go down. And there still has not been any response to these Adepts. The Adepts are continuing to pick off more and more workers. 12 workers do go down. They do leap out for the time being. But all of those DTs are going to pick off a base. They're going to pick off the spawning pool. They're going to get so much damage done. And these Adepts continue to harass mineral lines. Now, Solar has sent his Lings out across the map to try and deal some revenge damage here. Those roaches are going to be able to push that back and away. There's just too much back at home for SOS. And while SOS does not have a supply advantage, don't let that fool you. He is in a much better position over his opponent, who cannot make Zerglings, cannot make Queens, is only now getting his Lair Tech and replacing that spawning pool. And SOS is in such a strong position. It's going to add 2 Archons to this mix. He's limited his opponent to 2 bases, forcing his 3rd base to go out, way out into the middle of the map. This is a great position for SOS to play from. We're going to slowly see the supplies swing in our Protoss player's favor here, as he is going to now juggle these Archons back and forth. These Queens will not be able to stand against the 2 Archons alone. Roaches will try to rotate back and forth, but they're not going to get all the damage done that they need to do to be effective. So SOS is going to be allowed to continue harassing here. Yeah, and he's going to continually poke up into that main base to make sure that he gets all of this done. But take a look at that queen count. Only 2 queens for Solar. Getting so much damage done. Although I will admit, Solar doing a nice job of trying to keep that supply count even with SOS. But SOS continuing to be more and more annoying. His army becoming a little bit more complex and technical. But Solar is able to save most of the drones and is able to get out to a 3rd base, but holding it's going to be the challenging part here. Big Warpin in what used to be the main base of Solar, going to try and engage in 2 different spots at one time, forcing Solar to split as much as he can. 3 Immortals going to be so effective. A 4th one is probably working its way across the map. But I mean, Solar needs so much more of his army to help deal with this. 1 Spine Crawler will help, but it's not going to be the end-all, be-all. And SOS is currently warping in lots of Zealots to engage in the natural. And it's forcing so many of those roaches to stay back at home. And these Immortals are now going to get so much damage done. A lot of choking happening at the main ramp here. Those Archons trying to get as much damage done as possible, making the most of the splash. And SOS has to recall back home. He's actually not in that great of a position here. Solar doing a fantastic job of holding this. Solar wants to close this out and get the 3-1 victory for his team, and he's going to make SOS work for that 2nd win if SOS is going to complete this out. But keeping that supply count high. Solar getting that roach count up as well. 23 roaches, 5 more on the way. I mean, he's getting to the point where he could just go over and overwhelm his opponent. There is DT tech, but the Solar does have Overseers, so he has the option to keep those alive. And yeah, he is. He's just going to rally across the map here with a large chunk of army. He only needs to engage well once on top of those Immortals. If he can pick off those Immortals, he will be able to clean this up and secure the win for his team. Some good SimCity here is going to get on top of this base. We get to see the battery overcharge. It's outstanding, but this is one of the downsides. Oh, that Warp Prism gets completely picked off, so no more juggling is available in this engagement here. Solar, with some very good zoning, is able to tag that Nexus just a couple of times here. Some very good biles connect with chunks of the army here. Oh, those Immortals are a little bit exposed here. He's got to be careful. He can't SOS cannot just leave himself exposed like that. He is going to be able to tag that Nexus, and the third Nexus does go down, and 11 workers go down with it. Solar getting a nice position here. Look at that army difference, 112 to 72. This is such an amazing position for Solar to play from. And he's just going to go back home. He knows that he doesn't need to win right here. He's got a great army lead. He knows that he's now got a bit of an economic lead as well. So Ling's going to wrap around the top left side of the map. Solar still has not retaken his main base, but at this point, he really doesn't need it. Solar confirming that there is, in fact, no fourth base, so he knows that SOS is playing on his back foot here. Oh, the Zerglings are going to be able to work into the natural. Oh, this is devastating for SOS. He has to try and micro this at the third base location, and he's not going to be able to focus on this. So now all of these workers are very exposed. Another battery overcharge in the natural, and the Lings are just going to rotate up to the main. Solar dealing so much damage here in game number 3. Going to force a recall of what? I don't even know. Oh, he recalled a DT. Okay. So I guess it does stop the aggression here, but Solar continuing just to spiral out of control. 140 to 80. We do see a robotics bay going down. Disruptors would be the possible play here to get SOS back into this series, but Solar is able to rotate up. He's just going to wedge himself in between the second and the third base here, and he's going to make SOS force and choose where he is going to protect. So many Ravagers will help mitigate the damage of these Immortals. So many more workers going down too. 11 more workers getting killed. SOS is just bleeding supply. He's bleeding workers. He lost his cybernetics core, so no more stalkers, no more sentries. So the army that he has is pretty much the army that he's going to fight with, and he's got to try and hang on here. Once again, Solar in a position where he does not have to win off of the heels of this. He can just play it safe and give himself time, but that is going to allow SOS the time to get disruptors out. Ooh, DT is going to provide some good coverage in the natural. Does force Solar back and away with his army just for a little bit. Got third base now going to try and go down once again for SOS, but SOS again just playing so much further behind. He's down almost 20 workers. He's down 30 army supply. And this just becomes more and more difficult for SOS to try and come back from. The Archon count is large. The Disruptors are slowly hitting the field. 2 currently on the map for SOS. These Lings continuing to deal more and more damage. I believe the cybernetics core was replaced. I haven't actively seen it go back down just yet. Oh man, if Solar knew that Warp Prism was just perched right above his third base, I mean, he could easily just pick that off with Ravagers and just be done with it. And I think that Warp Prism provides so much value to SOS's army. Solar is maxed out. So Ling's going to try and be annoying here. Ooh, if they can pick up one of those disruptors for free, that would be huge damage. But, oh, they are going to get a chance to see it. Oh, that's a great pick. Oh, that is a disruptor for free. You've got to be feeling so annoyed if you're SOS. Aspire is on the way, so Solar is going to fit himself with a transition, should it need to get there. But I think Solar is just going to continue to be aggressive and annoying with all of these Ling run-bys and setups, making this very, very difficult for SOS to try and react from. A good little engagement going to try and knock that down. Oh, I'd love to see him just tag that Oh, just bile. Force him into movement here. But once again, if you lose this Warp Prism, I think so many of your aggression goes away. And another Ling run by into the natural will pull some of those Archons back, but Roaches and Ravagers will make those Archons have to fight to stay alive here. The Roach is going to really get on top of it, and one of those Archons does go down. A battery overcharge will protect the remainder of that, so that will go down. But again, Solar is able to just continue to max out. He sheds a little bit of his supply to get 9 Mutalisk. Yeah, this becomes increasingly more and more difficult for SOS. SOS knows he's playing for his tournament, or I guess his match life, not his tournament life per se. Solar trying to take a 5th base here. He did manage. Oh no, he's going to lose all of those Mutalisks. Oh, that's such great damage here for SOS, eliminating some of the effectiveness of those Mutas. Roaches are able to dive on into the natural, and I think that is going to just prompt Solar to move forward. He knows that the 3rd base is exposed. He knows that he can potentially base race his Protoss counterpart here, or at bare minimum, force him back and try and engage him on his own turf. Yeah, the Cyber Core is going to get shut down once again. So no more sentries, no more stalkers are going to be warped in. Oh, but this is a very, very scary base race here for both of these players. What does Solar have out onto the map? Does he have drones? He does. He gets to pull on those drones. He has enough to make a couple of hatcheries. So I love Solar's position in this. If he can clear out all of the production, he will be able to effectively base race his opponent. Now, SOS does have probes out on the map once as well, and will be able to help make that happen. But I think the Mutas are going to try and get on top of it. These Mutas are going to be able to spot all of these. Oh my gosh, SOS is not happy about it. That is a lot of typing. Every single probe gets killed. SOS has no more units. He has no more buildings, and Solar manages to win the base race and gets a 3-1 victory over his opponent. Outstanding play by Solar. Calculating. He knew exactly what he needed. Was able to jump on top of all of those probes and force the 3-1 victory for his team. Big Brother Cure. Cure not even needed. Not even needed today, as he manages to secure that 3-1 victory. Well played by both of our opponents. But now that does wrap up our production for today. So the standings right now, 3 Zerg and Big Brother Cure sit up top with 1-0 series. SSB and Why Are You Here are sitting down with 0-1. We will see Beef Rice Stew starting their first match tomorrow, as they had their bye for today, which means tomorrow for day 2, we will be seeing a majority of these teams continuing to play. We'll always see 4 teams play, and it will rotate around where each of our teams will have 1 bye in the series. So a recap of our match number 2 here. Solar getting a very, very strong position in this series. Bunny doing his work, but not enough to hold off Team Big Brother Cure. So we will get a chance to see them tomorrow playing against Beef Rice Stew, and 3 Zerg will come up against SSB. So here is a full list of the results from today's matches. Again, none of these teams are out. We will be rotating through all of these teams throughout the course of the next week. We have so many different opportunities to join and enjoy some great StarCraft. So I do encourage you, please check out tomorrow's broadcast. It'll be brought to you same time, same place, right here on play.africatv.com/alphaxsc2. And that will be it for me today. a quick cast. I was planning to be up until about 4 o'clock, and I might get to go to bed a little bit earlier today. But for now, I will more than likely be saying so long. Tomorrow, you will get a chance to see me same time, same place. My name is Rushy. If you really enjoy my content, you can catch me at twitter.com/RushySC. You can also catch my Twitch, twitch.tv/RushySC as well. You can get a chance here to see what we have in store for you tomorrow. We will see our match number 1. We will see our 3 Protoss, Trap, Patient, and Creator going up against Solar, Cure, and Armani. Rogue, Ragnarok, and DRG up against Sue, SOS, and Bunny. We'll have some more outstanding matches once again lined up for you tomorrow. So do make sure to join us. It'll be same time, same place, midnight CDT. Early morning for Europe, and right in the afternoon for our Asian crowd. So for now, I am going to prepare to sign off and say so long. I hope you get a chance to join me tomorrow for more outstanding games. And I'm going to get used to how this times out. So I will buy myself a little bit more time to say thank you for joining us here at Alpha X. Make sure to catch us at all of our socials you can see up above. Big thanks to our sponsor, Titan EX1, for helping make these events possible. And we will look forward to seeing you in future events. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.